All them cars in the backyard. Where you work over there? That's right. That's what that is. That's all that night.
Come here. Oh, Christy, come here, Christy. Christy.
They want us to. No. That man that got beat wouldn't want this. Martin Luther King wouldn't say burn up your whole area. That is crazy.
Chicos, estamos tan frente,
güey. She's so worried. I don't think I'm fired. Sure. I thought.
Roll this.
Voy a sacar mi casa por si se quema, pues ya la tengo en la película.
¿Eh?
¿Dónde están echando agua el bombero que ni siquiera se ve?
Aquí mira, sí se ve cuando se ve la lámpara.
Dice cuidado, amiga.
This is an emergency. Bye bye. I'm burning.
¿Cómo irás a entrar al Armagedón? Si esto solo es una cosita aquí de la cuadra y mira cómo nos... Mija, fíjate a ver si es la manguera.
El último hasta este lado.
¿Está agarrando la manguera? Ahí la encargo a Cristi, hermano. No se puede ver con el humo de todas maneras.
Véngase por acá.
I don't want to.
Está detrás de la tercera casa, ya está agarrando la otra casa ya. No, sí, ya también al otro lado, está la para aquí no hay nada.
No, hay que irnos de aquí.
No, es que allá está
Mira,
No, vámonos de aquí. Eso es...
ya agarró la casa, ahorita.
Oh, mira esta mano.
La casa va a estar peligrosa porque están las pipas de gas.
Cristi, vamos para atrás, mija. Vamos que la chamusquina nos agarra. Si le cae agua se echa a perder la cámara. Está cayendo brisa.
¿Estaba qué?
Sí, el aire se lo trae.
Hey, that's that dirty ass right there.
Cámbiale unos por el floro, Lupillo. Cámbiale unos por el floro ese. El perro.
Aún hay más.
Yo creo que ya no va a haber más.
Son las últimas risas. Sonríe tu última vez. ¿Cuál es tu último deseo, Dios?
A ver, diga. Oiga, quítese la mano.
¿Y Newman qué es eso?
Sonríe, Karina.
¿Qué es eso, Newman? ¿Newman qué es eso?
Newman,
¿Eh?
ahorita por ahí anda todo ahumado. Le digo que...
Black and white sitting on the corner.
Maybe that's not
The building's already burned down. It's as simple as that. Do something about it. Where is PhD? Get these come back to one black and white. Get these people off the roof. Why do they have guns and we're not able to have guns out here in the street? That's what we want to know. Thank you. for talking to us. And this is the image out here. People are just angry. They are scared. These are not looters. These are just people from this community, from the apartment buildings right behind us. Now we're going to move down the street. We see some other scenes that way. We're going to find out what's going. Again, we're live in the corner of 6th and Western right now. We are advising people, please don't drive by this area. If you can avoid it, get out. Do not drive by here. We will be back live to you in a little while. Let's find out what's going on back there. All right, Christina Gonzalez from 6th and Western, back to you at the station.
All right, Christina.
Thank you. Be careful.
The woman brought up a perfectly valid question. Perhaps it's one we can put to LA County Supervisor Gloria Molina, who's on the phone with us. Ms. Molina, have you heard any idea of a timetable for a full or fuller deployment of all the thousands of National Guard people that we have?
Well, no, not completely. In talking to the mayor, they had outlined a plan, and they were hoping to deploy that plan as quickly as possible. But when we think about it, it's still not going to be enough. The 2,000 troops that are coming in and the 2,000 that are coming in the morning may not be enough to maintain the kind of activity that we're seeing throughout this city that is devastating all of these communities. And they are through the road.
It's just incredible, Teresa, that nobody sees anybody starting these fires. There are so many fires that the arsonists are not spotted by anyone who can give law officers a clue. But Stan, if you will continue circling, we are going to go to Warren Wilson now. I understand Warren is at Olympic and 13th.
That's
Warren?
Arcadia.
Warren, go ahead.
Yeah, I can tell you. Are we on?
Yes, you are, yeah.
Okay, we are on, and what we're doing is watching firefighters from several cities fight a 3-story apartment fire 1 block north of the Harbor Freeway on Olympic Boulevard. This, we believe, is the one of the first residences we've seen go up this afternoon. This fire has burned the roof of this building, which has collapsed onto the 3rd floor, and that's where the fire is now. And fire.
Sanders again. Under curfew, in less than an hour's time, we have seen evidence that...
That was what we were concerned with.
It's moving. It's in the bakery. That's what you're looking at, and the dry cleaner's right next door.
Jody, please leave that location.
Yeah, we are. We're moving back. Come on, Carl.
Meantime,
Tensions are too high also.
Help me pull this cable.
We can't help by having our presence there now.
Yeah, we're backing way off.
it's so seldom we have a chance to bring any good news. We want to do that every chance we get. This just handed me. Daniel Freeman Memorial Hospital tells us that the man who was dragged from his gravel truck last night in south central Los Angeles and severely beaten has improved slightly following surgery. He remains in critical condition, though. He's been identified to us now as 33-year-old Reginald Denny. Hospital has been inundated with inquiries, people wanting to make a donation to him, and a Get Well Fund has been established for this man. Donations could be sent to the Daniel Freeman Foundation for Reginald Denny. The location is 333 North Prairie Avenue, Inglewood, 90301. He is the man that many of you saw on television last night. He was in his truck. He was dragged out. Someone hit him as hard as they could. It looked like with a piece of concrete or something knocked him down, and then his pocket was picked out.
Well, we will witness the opportunistic free-for-all that is now going on 24 hours pretty soon.
I'm trying to give you some sort of an idea what kind of machinery these men and women are traveling with. You may recognize this vehicle. It is a Humvee. The name may sound familiar. It was made popular during the Desert Storm War. This vehicle is totally armored. It's multi-purpose. It looks by the tires that this thing can move over just about anything. As you can see, the MPs are guarding their car. It looks as though they even use the doors as some sort of a shield as they stand here inside the vehicle, which they won't let us look in at this point. They've got sleeping bags, lots of food, lots of coolers, their weapons they keep on them. Earlier in the day, I should tell you, or just actually about a half hour ago, Chief Gates came by this location to meet some of these men and women who are risking their lives here for the city of Los Angeles. He came by, shook some hands. I asked him some questions about his opinions, and he says that he's not really hopeful that tonight these people will get off the streets. He says that it's going to take a lot of strength to end this thing, and it may take a few days. So anyway, these guys are standing by. One of the MPs told us that we should get the heck out of here when it gets dark because people have driven by here and threatened these men, men's lives, and they've said they'll take anybody with them, that people are going to start driving by here and shooting. So we'll see if that actually materializes. But for now, it looks relatively quiet. There's a man riding his bicycle here across the street, so some people don't seem to think that there is much of a danger. Behind me is the Rouse Market that was vandalized yesterday. The aisles are totally ransacked. It's really an unbelievable sight, but much of what we've been seeing throughout the last 24 hours. So it's this is a situation here. The guns are poised. These men and women are waiting for any sort of action, and hopefully people will abide by the curfew.
The problem, but it's more of a problem tonight, I understand.
The difference tonight than last night is the smoke is settling right down on the ground. Now last night the smoke went up to about 1,000 feet before it flattened out. Right now, at least towards the Civic Center, the smoke goes right down to the surface, and this is what makes it very is a real concern for us as pilots out here. And most of the pilots now, like we are right now, is out to the west, and you notice that visibility out here is a lot nicer, and the ceiling of the smoke out here is probably about 1,000 feet. A lot easier flying for us in Newscapter 7.
Ron, I hope it's easier for you tonight because you are our video appendage, and we are going to be relying on you to a great extent tonight. So we're going to become real good buddies before this night is over.
Sounds good. Thanks, Paul.
As we were last night. We'll get back to Captain Ron in just a second. We have on the line a psychologist.
I want to know what
I hope he's not a psychiatrist because there's a big difference. A psychologist, Dr. Robert Butterworth, who is going to be talking to us about how all of what we're seeing and going through and have been going through for the last 24 hours is affecting us. Dr. Butterworth, are you there?
Yes, I am, Paul. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for, you are a psychologist, right?
Yes, Paul.
What are people going through?
Estamos en un estado de emergencia, que si no creo que es mejor que no comenzamos.
Society works because there's an understanding that we all follow certain rules of behavior. And what we're seeing tonight is when these rules are breaking down, people become insecure to the point where they start to panic because things aren't working like they used to. They don't feel safe. So there's a large segment of the population, especially children, that are tonight scared out of their...
These are the people who are going to be solving these problems 10 and 20 years from now. Shouldn't they know what's going on now to maybe prepare them to better deal with life and obviously what we're seeing tonight in solving these problems?
Yes, Paul, and I was talking to young people today, and I was actually throwing that out to them, and I was saying, listen, here's a problem. This is what happened. A lot of young people are not cheering on the looters on television. They're actually angry at what they're doing, and I think it's stupid. And I think it's important for people to talk about other strategies, how to deal with that, rather than tearing down the city that you need to live in.
Hey, we'd like to talk to you about mob psychology too, but we're going to have to stop for now, Dr. Robert Butterworth, and hope we can get back in touch with you later on. Thanks for talking to us, sir.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks.
Good night.
Henry
Encouraging news, the curfew is working, at least here at the corner of Martin Luther King Boulevard and Crenshaw. Directly across the street is the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. Last night I was in this vicinity, and it was just chaotic. People going up and down the street, businesses were being looted. And here's the reason. Here are some more members of the National Guard. They've completely blocked off this intersection here, as well as the intersection further up. I think that's Stocker. Consequently, there's no traffic. Things are very, very quiet. I've been walking, or at least I've been trying to get an idea of some of the looting that's taken place. Interestingly enough, this Popeye's restaurant here, if we can turn around here this a little bit, Alan, I don't know if you can see the sign that says this is a black business, black-owned business. It hasn't been touched, fortunately for these people here, because further up the street last night, the entire Crenshaw Center Mall or something like that went down in complete flames. It was complete chaos, and it was very, very a disastrous scene. I might add that right around the corner, right up the street here, is also the South Pole. There's hardly any people out on the streets right now. On down the street, everything is very, very quiet on down Martin Luther King. Further down Martin Luther King, there are command posts or at least numbers of Los Angeles Police Department officers. It's very, very quiet. One of the officers told me, she said, as long as we're around, everything is fine. So at least it shows that once that force is being exhibited here in these various areas in the south central Los Angeles area, that there is a semblance of organization. The only problem is that these gentlemen behind me can't be here forever. So it remains to be seen
Will these National Guard troops be additional members to be brought in? That remains to be seen. So far, it's been good news. So again, Crenshaw Boulevard, a chaotic scene last night of people just driving up and down, looting all over the place, burning down the entire center over there. Today it's quiet, so it's quite a contrast compared to what's happening on the other side of town, as most of the viewers have been watching.
Los Angeles City, parts of the county as well, and other cities, including curfew in effect in Torrance, in the city of San Fernando, in Culver City, in Inglewood, in West Hollywood, we know in Compton also. A curfew is in effect now. It was dusk to dawn, and dusk has fallen. So if you don't have a reason to be out on the streets, if you're not coming back from work or heading out to a late night job, that sort of thing, you're being asked to stay home. Police will be questioning anybody who's out on the streets without a clear motive tonight.
You know, it's not to say that anybody out walking the streets is automatically going to the slammer. If you're out there for a good reason, then you can explain it.
You're going to have to explain
You are
yourself.
going to have to explain yourself, that's for sure.
If they could tell us that, you know, they are stretched so thin, they have their hands so full right now. I doubt they even have time to talk to us. I don't envy those people right now. I don't know anybody who could envy them.
They definitely got their hands full.
Again, all they can do is a holding pattern to try to stop. There it goes.
Whoa.
That's the Fat Burger Building.
It just crumbles before our eyes. Well, we're watching right along with you as the building literally crumbles to the ground.
That would make that the 9th business in the area that's gone down, 9th, or are we still 7 or 8? Either way, there are only about 4 or 5 businesses in the last 15 minutes in that area, in that mall, that seem to be standing, and that number's dwindling.
The fire is burning in such a widespread area across the Southland. Cut away from you for just a moment, Steve. We will be back to you momentarily. In the meantime, Jody Baskerville standing by with a fire official to talk to us.
Yes, I've got the man in charge of fighting this blaze. He's been here for most of the evening. Chief, what can you tell us? What's the plan of attack?
Well, the plan of attack here is to get a quick knockdown on it, cool it down, protect the exposures, and then get out of the area as quick as we can.
How bad is the wind? What kind of a factor has that played in this fighting this blaze?
Well, the wind isn't too bad. We do have a strong breeze, but it isn't too difficult.
How many men and women do you have here fighting this? It's kind of like a double blaze, I guess.
Yeah, what we have is 2 separate fires, 2 separate mini malls. We have 3 engine companies, and we have 3 police units that are riding with us.
Well, good luck to you, sir. It looks like you're getting the job done. Okay, back to you.
Now, you know that we are, just a short time ago, the LA County Sheriff's...
Give us an assessment. How many fires are burning right now, and how does that compare to various times in the past 30 hours? Are there more fires burning now, or fewer, or what?
I would say, Mike, that it's about constant, about the same. Right now we've got 47 structure fires that are now being fought by firefighters throughout the city, with about 15 fires that are waiting to be fought. One of the problems that we had too was the security of the firefighters. Of course, you had realized that 3 firefighters have been wounded in fighting. One was wounded while responding to a fire. He took a round bullet to the cheek, which lodged inside of his neck, and we were hoping that the vascular surgery, which the great surgeons at Cedars-Sinai had taken a vein out of his thigh and placed it...
What you guys are seeing is the poor people of Los Angeles speaking the voice of the poor people all across America. We got no jobs. You wonder why you got families looting? Because their kids haven't eaten. Why are the young people looting? Because they got no future. They got nothing else. You haven't given us any choices. You haven't given us anything. And you sit back on your TV so surprised that we tear up our neighborhoods. Yeah, we know we live here. Yeah, we know we shop here. I like these stores. But the bottom line is, this is something that you guys have been ignoring for so long. And today, should be out there getting paid.
Man, this is reality, yes, but what we're doing, destroying things, is taking other jobs that other people have that are poor too.
My life, your life, his life, his life.
I'm on your side.
Let me finish. All right, I'm gonna make you really on my side. All of our life is forfeit. It doesn't matter. This shit will pass.
Okay, well, some very strong and disturbing comments there, and it's just one piece, unfortunately, of a very tragic mosaic that is out.
It's Leo Green. Can Leo Green hear us?
Hello.
Hello, Leo.
Hi, Patty. This is Jim Forbes. I know it's difficult juggling so many people tonight. I understand. It was Leo you were speaking to earlier. I'm still, because of the evening, I'm not certain of where we are. It appears to be possibly Venice Boulevard. What caught our eye as we were heading toward Compton, and in the distance, about 4 or 5 miles, we saw this structure, but it didn't distinguish itself at first, as opposed to many others that we see up here. But suddenly we saw a flash, and then there was a second flash, and it appeared that a transformer blew, and we can see some power poles there, because the entire area first went dark for 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds, came back on with the second flash, then the area went brown, and then the lights came back on. So we may have some electrical problems, not only here, but throughout the city with some of these fires, if they're hitting electrical transformers and such. But automobile traffic, at least, is tremendously diminished, and that's somewhat of an encouraging sign.
Jim, we are looking at what amounts to a bucket brigade down there. People running across the street, throwing buckets of water on this fire.
Very similar to what we saw at the camera shop before, although they don't have the luxury of a hose. Perhaps we're getting a sense of an equal outrage of the citizens, the vast majority of the citizens of this community, who are saying no more. And we're going to protect them, we're going to stand up. And we can only hope that it's drawn to a close.
I don't know whether you can see it from your side of the helicopter, Jim, or not. This is a heartwarming scene, as you said, like the camera shop in Hollywood, where these people with buckets, and apparently they may have cracked open a fire hydrant, or they have a hose running from a tap, and in any event, they're running across the street to throw buckets of water on flames that have virtually destroyed that store. This is like, you know, spitting in the ocean, if you would, because the fire has already gutted the building. But these people seem to be making a statement.
Very important spitting in the ocean is what it is, I think.
Yes.
There seems to be somebody manning that fire hydrant or that garden hose type thing over there and directing.
Wet right now. You put in quite an effort. So, what were you doing? What was your concern? The concern was we have a bunch of brush in the backyard. It's all over, and then a bunch of apartments and stuff. So we were just trying to suck everything down until he came to help us out.
Central control here, and the ICS system, it sets it up as far as they receive the calls, they'll dispatch us as they come in. And so all that's done here at the command post.
Your men, how much of a break do they get when they get an opportunity, and how long do they fight before they get to come out and get some rest?
Well, obviously it depends on what's going on out there. Right now we're down to probably about 20, 30 minutes. Break and then back out we're going.
Thank you very much, because again, he's got to get back out, and again, he said he just had a second because we got him as he was heading back to his truck. He has been out, as I mentioned, came in to get a little break, and now that he's back out again, and that's the way it's been.
And have you been able to determine if the firefighter,
that man,
there was a lot of looting going on in there before, I'm sorry, just some more power lines. There was a lot of looting going on in the warehouse, in the appliance store, and then they set both of those structures on fire. So that's the way the fire started. A couple of hours it burned. 4:30 is when it started. We're now at 8:30, 4 hours this happening there.
Yeah, we have a very, very tense situation here, and I'm going to let Detective Dennis Robbins explain to me what happened. 2 guys on a motorcycle, 2 white men, apparently?
Yes.
Okay, what happened?
They were riding southbound on Lemon on a motorcycle. They were attacked by a group of 15 to 20 male blacks. They were pushed off the motorcycle. The crowd attacked them, beat them, took their wallets, subsequently shot both of them. One is dead at the scene, the other is at Memorial Hospital.
All right, you have a curfew now imposed in Long Beach, correct?
I understand the curfew just has been activated.
Okay, we're going to let you go. I know you want to call to get out of here. Thank you so much for being with us, Detective. All right, we're going to show you the scene. We'll show you the scene, and then we're going to get the heck out because there's been a lot of gunshots around us.
We won't make distinctions about race, color. That's not important at this point. We don't need to incite any more trouble.
Something new happening there.
Yeah, we have a very, very tense situation here, and I'm going to let Detective Dennis Robbins explain to me what happened. Two guys on a motorcycle, two white men, apparently?
Yes.
Okay, what happened?
They were riding southbound on Lemon on a motorcycle. They were attacked by a group of 15 to 20 male blacks. They were pushed off the motorcycle. The crowd attacked them, beat them, took their wallets, subsequently shot both of them. One is dead at the scene, the other is at Memorial Hospital.
All right, you have a curfew now imposed in Long Beach, correct?
I understand the curfew just has been activated.
Okay, we're going to let you go. I know you want to call to get out of here. Thank you so much for being with us, Detective. All right, we're going to show you the scene. We'll show you the scene, and then we're going to get the heck out because there's been a lot of gunshots around us.
We won't make distinctions about race, color. That's not important at this point. We don't need to incite any more trouble.
Okay.
The death toll is up to 18 now. You remember that in the Watts riots, it took 6 days and 34 people was the total death toll there.
34. There are over 1,000 people injured in the Watts riots. We're up now probably to about half that.
Yeah, they had arrested about 4,000 people in the Watts riots. We certainly believe that the arrests are going to become massive soon here now that the curfew is in effect. We have some closures too, so let's take care of some cancellations and some closures to report. The 2-day dog show at the Santa Monica Civic Center has been canceled. 9 LA County mental health clinics will be closed tomorrow. Virgil Clinic, Crisis Center in Van Nuys, county clinics in South Bay, Compton, Long Beach.
Right there, if we zoom in right on that smoke, you'll see a fire that has been started since we've been talking just now. So when you talk about how the firebombing goes on and hits various commercial buildings, they managed to hit that building while we flew overhead and while we were talking. And
it's just starting. As we're looking at it
there
just
it is.
ignited.
That's it.
All right, David. Now we have on the phone.
And that is an apartment building, by the way, not a commercial building.
It is.
Yes.
Thanks very much. Adrian Gaines on the phone now of the Boys Market. Are you with us?
Yes, I am, Jerry.
I understand your markets have been badly hit.
Yes, they have. We have experienced significant loss of property and merchandise in the inner city of Los Angeles due to extensive fire and water damages today and yesterday.
How many markets?
There are 40 markets at this moment. There are a number of other markets that are encountering crises, not only in the Los Angeles area, but also in the Inland Empire and city of Pomona.
40 markets, but how many of them have been hit?
40 markets have been affected by this current crisis. Yes.
Right.
In the Los Angeles area.
And how many people do you employ in those markets?
We employ over 10,000 people in the Los Angeles County area.
Police are finally going to make some arrests now with some looting and arresting these 3 people. Very frustrating. There's not enough jail space. There's not enough transportation to move these people, even if they get the looters. Andy, let's walk up. This is the 7-Eleven here in Mid-Wilshire area. One of the employees here who didn't want to go on camera told me they closed about 5 o'clock tonight. So this happened sometime between 5 and now. They totally looted this store. They just ripped the doors open right here, trashed the entire place. They ripped open, Andy, can you zoom in there? Those Money Quick ATM machines. They ripped it right off the wall there to try to get the money. If you can see in there, those are those ATM machines in 7-Eleven. They went right for that first, I guess, ripped that out to get the money. All the debris is strewn all over the place. They got the Coke, 7-Ups, everything went to the cash register, pulled out one of the video games as well. This happened in the last few hours or so. Spin around over here. Police are making 3 arrests right now. They are going to arrest these 3 people who they say participated in the looting here. These are just one of the many sweeps that police are doing here in the Mid-Wilshire area, all around town to try to stop this looting. Police in riot gear, moving around. They were here. They held these people here for, I believe, the last half hour or so, waiting for some transportation. Very frustrating. They were going to let these people go, but now they finally have some transportation, and they are going to book these people into the county jail. I'm David Goldstein reporting live from Mid-Wilshire. Back to Jerry.
Very briefly, David, isn't there any way that they can get some sort of a temporary holding cell, a pen, use some sort of a stadium or whatever? It's been done in the past, I'm sure.
They're trying to use whatever facilities they can, and they have some extra facilities. I'm not sure which ones now. The problem, Jane, is they didn't have any transportation. they couldn't move them in their own cars because they're supposed to be here out on the streets. One of the officers told me they're on 12-hour shifts, but now he's up to his 14th hour. He can't take his patrol car off the streets and bring it back to book these people. They hope that others will do that, but there wasn't transportation at first, but now they finally do have some transportation.
Two white men on a motorcycle were attacked by a group of 15 or so African Americans in Long Beach tonight. This happened in Long Beach. Both men on the motorcycle were beaten. One of them was shot and killed. The other individual who was beaten is now at Long Beach Memorial Hospital. We have no word on his condition. As soon as we do, we will bring that to you. Another development, a lot of people last night had been asking the question, why, after Governor Wilson ordered the 2,000 National Guard troops into our area, was it taking so long for them to get here? In fact, they were due on the streets by about 3 o'clock in the morning, and as you probably know by now, they did not actually hit the streets until about 2:30 this afternoon, which is about a 12-hour delay. Governor Wilson tells us the reason for delaying the deployment was that there was a lack of bullets, a shortage of ammunition. The ammunition that the troops needed was at Camp Roberts, which is in Paso Robles, and it was simply a logistical problem of getting the ammunition to the troops where they needed it. When the governor found out about this, he ordered the troops into action, as it were, with what ammunition they do have. The governor upset about this, said it shouldn't have happened, and it would not happen again. Also, Governor Wilson heading to our area now. As you probably know, he is due to survey the scene in a National Guard helicopter, and later to go over to Parker Center to confer with officials there. That's the latest from the update desk. I'll join you again in a couple of minutes. Jerry. Jane?
Right, thank you. We were telling...
Está cargada. It's an emergency. Hope they don't put fire in this house. Or in that apartment. Whoa! Rigo, look up there. Oh, si eso llega en una casa, es de abajo. Sí, está cargada. It's an emergency. Hope they don't put fire in this house. Or in that apartment. Whoa! Rigo, look up there. Oh, si eso llega en una casa, es de abajo. Newman wants a report. Newman wants a report, Regal. It's working, Regal. Go like this, Newman. Here we see a house burning. And it's not just, it's almost close here. Here, there's some people putting water on the roof for it won't burn. Now, we got that fire up there? How about that? Okay. There's all that fire up there. Now, it's coming way up. Excuse me. Let's pull attention right now that there's a fire down the line, but it's not real. The United States is surrounded with fire. ¿Quieres más, mami?
No, venme la poner allá adentro mi soda y mi vaso, ¿ok?
No hay vuelos de avión.
¿Dónde?
No hay vuelos de avión.
Dicen que no. No pueden.
Sí.
Uh-oh. Cuidado ahí.
Oh.
Ponle en la caja y guárdala. Apágala, está prendida.
Okay.
Rico, apágala.
Yes, sir. que le voy a quitar el imagen mix.
Fire after fire after fire kept breaking out all over the city, primarily in businesses, and businesses which probably will not be able to reestablish themselves once the riot is over.
This is an extended edition of the morning show on Front Page. We feel the community needs this.
A local radio station owned by Stevie Wonder fielded a full day of calls as people tried vainly to make sense of what was going on.
Come on, what are we doing to our community?
Outside, now brazen looters attacked commerce at will, bank teller machines included.
Excuse me, will you take care of that? What do you got? Can you take it? It's your store? Just behind you, there are a dozen people looting the shop. What's going on?
Well, those are all the owners over there that are repairing all that stuff. Back here? Yeah, they're all owners there. Yeah, they're all over there.
But in a sea of chaos, smoke, and looting, Charles Jones's store is an island. Oh, there's tension and violence here, too. Outside, in fact, a man was shot to death in his car.
Was that related to the riot, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Because it was a Korean man driving down the street. And they shot him. You know, senseless as it was, but he just happened to be Oriental going down Alonzo Boulevard. And whomever the individuals were, I guess they said, there he is. He's ours.
But inside, Charles and his son Michael try to do business, if not as usual, as close as they can get.
See, because you burn me down, I've got 6 other families that are dependent on me, people that work for me. You burn down Harriet's beauty shop. She's got some operators in there. They out of there. See, and the residual effect isn't going to be felt until it's payday.
Bill, the military has long known the value of the helicopter when it comes to war. And here in Los Angeles, the chopper is once again proving that value when it comes to battle. Only this time, the battle is on the streets of Los Angeles. And the battlefield has been burning.
34 base, we're downtown. Everything's on fire.
On a professional level, it's my job to go out and cover the news, gather it, and get it on the air and report about it. On an emotional level, I'm devastated.
Control to Bob, sir. We're listening to the governor now. We may come to you. Unbelievable. We're flying in a cloud of smoke and debris with people down below looting, and there's no law down there whatsoever. None whatsoever. Look at this.
Riots are breaking out in the City of the Angels, and news helicopters are taking to the skies. Nightfall has descended only a few hours after 4 police officers are acquitted of assaulting a motorist. And with darkness come the demons. There is looting. There are fires. And the authorities are as frightened as anyone else.
Are you guys scared being out here tonight?
Absolutely. We've been taking rocks, bottles, eggs from this market that they looted while we're fighting this fire here.
This was the scene just 7 hours after the delivery of the verdict in the Rodney King case in South Central LA. Fires, mass looting, mass rioting, and as you can see, police in riot gear. But even police dared not enter some areas, for as my photographer and I quickly learned Wednesday night, some areas of Los Angeles no longer belonged to anyone.
Jesus, we got shots, man. Those are shots. Get out of here. Those shots. Get us the out of here.
Because of the deadly danger involved in getting the pictures that have been keeping the world tuned in on what's happening here, this is how most television viewers are getting the scenes from the air.
It's the only way to cover a story like this. You have literally hundreds of different news locations, and you can't drive the streets. We had a KNX news van. Tom Vakar down below, his van was ripped apart. And just because you have a press credential doesn't mean you're immune. If anything, you're a bigger target. And the only way to cover it is out of the reach of these horrible people.
Bob Turr is a well-known helicopter pilot and news reporter. Along with his photographer wife, Marika Gerard, Bob has been covering the LA riot story almost around the clock from a bird's eye view.
Newscopter, this is the news center. This is a tremendous jigsaw puzzle.
The scores of other news and police helicopters in the air make the flying itself a little tricky. Add dense smoke to the surrounding skies, along with the potential stray bullet from the ground, and you've got quite a demanding job.
It's just instinct after a while. You've got to kind of watch out of two eyes. You've got one of your eyes open that's watching the whole scene, and one of your eyes that's watching down into the camera lens.
Bob's wife, Marika, is the one who gets the real eyeful from above the city. Through her zoom lens, she watches as a man is dragged from his vehicle and beaten senseless.
Oh, look at that. Terrible. And there's no police presence down here. They will not enter the area.
The victim is then shot by a rioter.
The most devastating thing was seeing the way these people were beaten and shot.
I haven't had time to really digest it yet, but it's been horrifying. The one I've had time to think about it. I can't believe this is the city that I grew up in.
There are about 3 people up on the top of a roof of a 5-story apartment house.
But just as any other journalists or reporters, Bob and Marika give priority to getting the story so that people at home can stay informed. So when the police move in with their own helicopter on suspects who have fired guns at officers, Bob steadily covers the neighborhood as well, his hand tight on the control stick from the rush of adrenaline. His wife zoomed in tight with her camera as police make their arrest.
It's unbelievable. We've lost the city. The city is lost.
As Bob Turr pilots his flying television camera above the various disaster sites, he curses the people doing the damage. Meanwhile, as looters pillage through a drugstore below, Marika pauses to think quietly to herself, camera turned off. Her same questions may well be running through the minds of millions of others at the same moment. Why here? Why this?
And that is it for us today from Los Angeles. You know, many words have been said about all this, but words can never erase the terrible pain in what is one of the most shameful incidents in recent history. Thanks for watching Inside Edition. I'm Bill O'Reilly. We'll see you next week.
The choir joined the troops for a prayer and a song. They all joined hands.
Thanks for being here. All right, God bless you. All right.
The guardsmen were photographed by some South Central residents who are happy to see the troops in place. They're also happy to see RTD buses rolling again, despite extensive damage in the area. Some businesses were apparently spared after signs saying black-owned were posted outside. But dozens of others were not. Among them was Broadway Federal Savings and Loan, a vital financial institution in LA's African-American community for nearly 50 years.
We're committed to rebuilding on that exact same site.
Rebuilding was also on the minds of hundreds of volunteers who showed up at Nicholson Gardens. They came with brooms and shovels in hand, and they went to work. One longtime community activist, Leon Buckins, says the rioting was not exclusively the work of street gangs, as some people may think.
I think that there's gang members who tried to stop it, there's gang members who did not participate in it, there's gang members who deplore it, just like some of us so-called law-abiding citizens. You can't put this all on gang members to say that they're responsible. It's too easy, and that's what people are trying to do.
Watkins says the emphasis should be on repairing lives, not just buildings. He says the people here have been very frustrated, very poor, and very unemployed for much too long. Live in South Central Los Angeles, I'm Fernell Chapman. Now for the latest in Koreatown is my colleague, David Garcia. David?
Qué feo, ¿no? Lo que antes era un centro comercial tan bonito, con tantas tiendas nuevas. Mira nada más lo único que quedó. Puro carbón. padre. Nada más como dejaron. National. Todavía me alcancé a comprar unos zapatos de aquí. Oye, mira que de milagro se salvó. Qué barbaridad, esto fue un crimen lo que hicieron. ¿Qué, mijo? Sí, no, pues si nos ponemos a sacar, mijo, no damos abasto, pues todo está quemado, todo. Aquí vino mi hermano a comprar el aceite de la camioneta cuando se fue para México. Y miren. Del carro me está estorbando. Mira, exactamente una cuadra detrás de aquí vivimos nosotros. Con desquilladas. Esto es lo que queda de una imprenta. Los bomberos aquí los vemos reparando todavía. Yo creo que sí siguió prendiendo fuego. Tienda de muebles finos, antigüedades. Eso es lo que quedó. Todo destruido.
Normandy and Florence, police arrived to assess the first outbreak of trouble. They make at least one arrest. Tensions are high. 5:47 p.m. Police leave the scene, not to be visible again, but an unruly crowd remains. A possible turning point in the breakdown of law and order in Los Angeles. 6:45 p.m. The crowd outside Parker Center becomes unruly. Backup is called in from Central Division. At the same time, South Bureau also requests additional manpower. It is not until 35 minutes later, 7:21 p.m., that a department-wide mobilization is issued, canceling vacations, days off, and recalling off-duty officers. Where is Chief Daryl Gates?
The chief was in Brentwood at a private home, attending, of all things, an anti-police reform fundraiser. Up a Long Canyon Road, Daryl Gates couldn't have been more isolated.
Chiefs talk about a plan that was asked for by City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas at a meeting 2 days before the verdict and the violence.
That's correct.
Thomas himself is accused of asking the police to go slow if force was needed.
Absolutely.
Sources close to the police